Hello, Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to another update uh, for PSX. So PSX update for small investors. So let's get started. So today we are mainly focusing on Systems Limited, but we are doing some comparison between System Limited and TRG as well, and then we are going to use the information that we collected from our analysis for portfolio planning as well. So stay tuned, it's gonna be interesting. So let's begin. Uh, our typical format for analysis is that we look at fund holdings or where our big intelligent investors who have lots of analysts and other intelligent people collecting and analyzing information where they are investing. So where the big money goes. So we can see that in July, some big funds like ABL Islamic Fund, ABL Pension Fund, uh, you know, even Mizan and others, they actually have invested and they have continued with their investments. So we can see that there is a trend that big funds have invested in Systems Limited. Some of the big funds may have increased their investments in Systems Limited, and the stock price is also telling the same story that it is going up. So it has gone up in last 2-3 months. So we can see that there is some excitement in big investment organizations, and they are continuing to invest in Systems Limited. So that's a good thing. Let's look at its fundamentals. So we can see that its market capitalization is 99.17 billion. Recently, we have seen news that Systems Limited has become the first big company which has crossed 100 billion, big IT company which has crossed 100 billion, which is a good thing. Average volume for this company has been low for a long time, and we can see that this company has been performing very well as compared to stock market. So it has performed, it has gained in terms of capital for 1 month, 3 month, 6 month, and 1 year uh, period. So this is a good company. This has been a good company for those people who have, may have bought it for rupees 80, 90 a year ago, and it seemed that it was overpriced even at that level, but it has continued to surprise us all. ठीक है. So let's look at TRG because TRG is the other big IT company. So we are looking at it just for the sake of comparison. So we can see that its stock price is 163 as compared to Systems, which is now like 700. So 700 versus 163. Market capitalization is 89 billion, which is very close to where System is, and System is 99 billion, so they are close. Probably TRG can easily overtake Systems. There is a lot more interest in TRG. Average volume is like 20 million versus only 200,000 for Systems. So Systems has basically low volume, whereas TRG has higher volume. TRG performance has been mixed as compared to Systems, where System has risen and risen for 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, and 1 year period. TRG has been negative for 3 month period, where it is still positive for 6 months and 1 year period. So TRG is not doing that good as far as capital gain is concerned, but otherwise, if you look at it, from a market capitalization perspective, it is comparable from volume perspective, or if we say interest of investors, the volume is very high, so we can see that there is a lot of interest in this company. So we can stay positive on this company when we see that it is much cheaper, but still has the same market capitalization as systems, and the volumes are very high. So it gives us a lot of confidence in TRG and so on. So let's look at systems earnings. So systems EPS is 9.85, which is up to second quarter of 2021, and in the second quarter of 2021, its EPS was 6.02, and we can expect that its EPS would continue in the same direction. So we can expect that its EPS might still touch around maybe 20. So we do expect that its CPS, if recently announced, might touch 20, and so there is good news um, on that. And we can see that its EPS has been growing since 2017. Before 2017, used to score like 4.23 and in 4 range. It was under 5. After 2017, its EPS has been going from 8 to 11 to 16, and now hopefully it should cross 20 as well. So EPS of 20 would take its fair price to 160, which is same as TRG. So it is difficult to understand why its value is current value is around 700. So we can see that its book value is 60, but its enterprise value is 709. So it's a market price and enterprise value are comparable now. So this might be the reason that it is touching that level. So let's move to TRG. So TRG EPS, it has gone to 13 for the first time, and it might go to 20 in the last quarter. So we can see that, it's uh, its EPS has risen by a huge margin, but it's not consistent. So people have a lot more confidence in systems as compared to TRG. And if you look at the earnings, historic earnings, then the reason might be in this trend. So whereas system has continuously performed and gone up and gained confidence of investors, TRG, still has to do that. TRG has to prove itself that it can consistently, score EPS of maybe 20, 30 and grow its EPS consistently in order to on that kind of confidence that system has been enjoying. Book value is, I would say, not that low. It's 44, but enterprise value is 167, which is like 4 times or 3 times at least lower than system. So this might justify its current price of 160, and we can see that there are well justifiable reasons for its performance as well. If you look at systems candlestick chart, then you can see that there are lots of narrow candles in the last 2 months with low volumes, and then there are some big green bars at the bottom indicating higher volumes, and a candlestick showing certain rise, green candle certain rise here in. So we can see that in this region there is there are some big bars here, and then we see this green candle. Then there is some adjustment, but this adjustment is on top of the green bar, so this is still indicating bullish trend, and this is followed by increased volume as well. And then you see very small candles showing sideways trends in this region, and this trend continues, sideways trend continues here, and then we see a few good sessions and some good volumes as well, and the price goes to 720. But then again, while it breaks the Bollinger Band, we see certain downward adjustment as well. So maybe if systems is showing a lot of stability in its price ranges, very high price ranges as well, and then it continues its upward trend. So maybe because enterprise value might prove to be a barrier for its continued rise in this region, and we might see that system might move in this region like this, maybe uh, rather than going up, but let's see if it can break the resistance uh, and move to another level. So generally when candles are narrow, whether they are green or whether they are red, like in this region, so we have sideways movement. So candles are narrow, volumes are low like here, then we see low interest, and we should expect a sideways movement to continue. When this trend changes, so the change is indicated by increased volume and maybe one or two uh, you know price movements, positive or negative. So there is some change of trend here. So that was the indication that it gave that it may continue up, but then you had to wait for a couple of days, and then it was a good part of August that you had to wait before it rose again. Okay, so this is how its trend has been continuing. So RSI is still very high, 81, which indicates a lot of resistance, and we do expect that we might be able to find a system at a lower level, maybe around 650, 600 in coming days, because of the resistance that it may face at higher level. So a lot of investors seeing this resistance coming in their way, they might be tempted to sell some of their stocks, leading to uh, you know a downturn in the system's price trend. If you look at TRG in this period, we can see, I mean, we know that TRG in general has higher volumes, higher than 5 million, typically 8, 10 million, sometimes, 20 million as well. So TRG also has been moving in sideways, but TRG sideways trend is different. So we see a lot of large candlesticks like this. Even this red candlestick is quite large, so there's a huge movement in price in this red candlestick as well. So these large candlesticks are very attractive for day traders, even if they are negative. So because you can always have an opportunity where you might buy at 158 and then sell it 160, 162, 164. So this is huge margin to earn on a single share. So although, I mean, we saw large red candlestick, and then we saw a downward trend continuing for a couple of days. So this is the trend for TRG, that whenever you see red candlestick and you see uh, downward trend, all these red bars for a few days. So one red candle followed by another red candle, then you can expect that there might be a few more red candles on your way. So because these green candles are in the shadow of red candle, so this does not really change the trend. Again, this green candle is in the shadow of this big red candle, so this does not change anything for us. So and the result is that despite these two green candles coming in your way because, the trend is continuing. This red candle is having its impact and it goes till this point. ठीक है. So वो जो नेगेटिव ट्रेंड था, बियरिश ट्रेंड टीआरजी का, वो यहाँ तक तो चले साइडवेज था, लेकिन यहाँ से बेसिकली शुरू हुआ. मे बी it started around end of the month, 27th of July, and there is huge settlement pressure in TRG usually. So at the end of the month, so वो यहाँ से शुरू हुआ and it continued as we would expect right till 10th of August. So ये settlement pressure यहाँ तक जारी रहा. ठीक है. So we can say कि यार ये ट्रेंड जो था ये इसका सेटलमेंट प्रेशर की वजह से था. उसके बाद वी सी मार्क डिफरेंस, वॉल्यूम ग्रीन भी हो गए और इंक्रीज भी होना शुरू हो गए. ठीक है. सो पीपल सा सम अपॉर्चुनिटी. सो लोगों ने, जो ट्रेडर्स होंगे, उन्होंने 150 के गिर्द उसको कैच किया. ठीक है. एंड देन दे वर पॉजिटिव बुलिश ऑन दिस स्टॉक. सो उन्होंने बाय किया किया किया, ग्रीन आते गए, उसके बाद रेड हुए, तो भी ये इन ग्रीन्स को उन्होंने यूजली बीट नहीं किया. सो दिस ट्रेंड इज कंटिन्यूइंग इवन नाउ. सो we can say that if settlement pressure is hopefully over, although volumes have not increased, so we cannot say anything. I mean, these green volumes are basically, we can say, under the shadow of red. ठीक है ना. ये रेड ट्रेंड जो यहाँ पे था, ठीक है ना, ये कोई ख़त्म नहीं हुआ. ठीक है. So but still it's this could be a good opportunity to invest in TRG based on technical trend. You got to take some risk. So what we can expect that if there is going to be some more settlement pressure in TRG, then it might go to 150. And if if there is no settlement pressure, further settlement pressure in the coming week, which is the more likely case, then we can expect TRG to go to maybe 170 level as well. So there is some risk taking, but some opportunity in TRG as well, especially if the volumes start to rise above maybe 7-8 million and so on. So if the volumes look good, then TRG is definitely going up from here based on hopes for good results and all that. Let's do some portfolio planning now. So we have looked at a number of different stocks or scripts in last few days, and we want to do some comparison as well. So let's compare the three big IT companies, which are Systems, TRG, and NETSOL. So if you are going to buy Systems, per share price is 700 plus. For TRG, it's 160 plus usually. For NETSOL, maybe you can buy it around 150. So the basic difference between these stocks is that funds are invested in Systems and TRG, but they are not invested in NETSOL. So that shows that the big investor or the institutional investor may not have that much confidence in NETSOL. If you look at market capitalization, it becomes more clear that Systems and TRG are almost maybe 5 times bigger than NETSOL in terms of market capitalization. If you look at EPS, Systems EPS, we know that has been 16, and we expect that it should rise above 16 to maybe 20 or more than 20. TRG has shown a remarkable increase in its uh, EPS as well, and we expect that it would score around 20. So that is also very good. Whereas NETSOL, its EPS is probably negative or very low, maybe around 2.73. So there is difference in EPS as well, almost 5 times lower. So NETSOL has 5 times lower EPS as compared to, it's more than that. I should say 10 times lower EPS than systems and TRG. So there is no comparison between these two companies apart from the price. So you pay almost the same money per share for NetSol, but you are getting a company which is 10 times, which is earning 10 times less than its मेन कंपटीटर. सो डिफरेंस है, और यही डिफरेंस होता है जो कि एक इन्वेस्टर को समझना चाहिए. ठीक है, अगर आप रिस्पॉन्सिबल इन्वेस्टर्स हैं एंड सो ऑन, क्योंकि शार्क से आप जीत नहीं सकते. ठीक है ना, शार्क्स का जितना मजबूत पावा होता है, ठीक है, और जितने पैसे इन्वेस्ट कर रहे होते हैं और उन्होंने जितने रिसोर्सेज उसमें लगाए होते हैं, ठीक है, आप कभी भी उनसे नहीं जीत सकते. तो आपको सेंसिबल वे में, एक स्मॉल इन्वेस्टर को हमेशा सेंसिबल वे में चलना चाहिए. अगर वो सेंसिबल नहीं होगा तो वो अपनी दमड़ी भी लूज कर देगा. If you look at expected P/E, so P/E is our criteria for how expensive a share is. So if you look at systems P/E, it is 36 versus TRG, which is 9.25. So TRG is much cheaper as compared to systems. And if you look at NetSol, understandably, NetSol's P/E is 134. So NetSol is almost, what should I say, um, 20 times, maybe 15 times more expensive than TRG, and it is almost 4 times more expensive than system. So ये प्राइस से कोई चीज़ जो है ना, या कोई शेयर महंगा या सस्ता नहीं होता. ठीक है ना, वो प्राइस वर्सेस रिटर्न या प्राइस वर्सेस अर्निंग को जब आप देखते हैं, P/E को जब आप देखते हैं, तो आपको आइडिया होता है कि कौन सा शेयर कितना एक्सपेंसिव है. सो अगर एक शेयर जो है उसकी P/E बहुत हाई है, तो वो वाकई बहुत एक्सपेंसिव शेयर होता है, क्योंकि उसकी रिटर्न कोई नहीं होती. एट द एंड ऑफ द डे जब आप इन्वेस्टमेंट करते हो तो आप कहते हो कि यार अगर 1 लाख मैंने इन्वेस्ट किया तो आप कितनी रिटर्न दोगे. तो TRG की रिटर्न तो जस्टिफाई हो जाएगी, सिस्टम्स की भी शायद हो जाए, मुश्किल से होगी लेकिन शायद हो जाए. नेटसोल की रिटर्न जो है वो जस्टिफाई नहीं हो सकेगी, एंड दिस इज प्रोबेबली द रीज़न दैट बिग इन्वेस्टर्स वुड स्टे अवे फ्रॉम नेटसोल. ठीक है. So enterprise value, looking at enterprise value, systems has impressive enterprise value of 709.51. TRG has a good enterprise value of 167. NetSol also has a good enterprise value of 125. So which shows that, okay, its price should not go lower than 125 based on its enterprise value. It can go down. It has been at 64 and probably at 45 as well. And it can go back there as well. But its enterprise value might provide it some support, so it might, it is likely that it would stay above 125, 120 zone. Now let's try to do some further planning and compare different shares and see that if you are going to invest today, based on how much return you might get from dividends, uh, plus having a good expectation for capital gain as well, where you should go. So we are comparing a few companies. So if you invest in Hub C and you buy 1,000 shares, your investment is like 78,000. And if you had done this kind of investment over last 1 year, you would have earned 12,000 from dividends only. And you can expect that for the past and for the future, your return would be around 15-16% for Hub C. So this is a good return. If you had invested in EPCL, just 50,000 rupees for 1,000 shares, then you would have earned 9,000 or around 9,000 in dividends, and that is 18% return. So, if you had invested, maybe 100,000, then probably you would be earning around 18,000 rupees from EPCL. Okay, so which is a very good investment. If you had invested in last 2-3 months in effort and you were lucky enough to catch it around 65, I don't know whether that was possible, but 65 has been a typical price for effort for last couple of months. So, if you had held on to effort um, uh, for a price of around 65 and you had invested 65,000 in effort, then you would probably earning around 15, 16 or 17,000 rupees from effort and in the form of dividends, which is very good investment, you know, very good investment return. Again, if you had invested maybe around the same amount. So if you had, bought 200 shares of systems at a price of around 550, which looked very expensive, couple of months ago, then you would only earn 700 rupees. सो अगर आप बाय कर भी लेते हो, ठीक है ना, तो सिस्टम्स का डिविडेंड बहुत लो है, ठीक है, मे भी इसका डिविडेंड हाई हो जाएगा इस जून में, बट लेट्स सी, अगर इसका डिविडेंड हाई हो जाता है तो मे भी हम इसको चेंज कर सकते हैं, मे भी इसका डिविडेंड अब लेट्स से कि 10 तक चला जाता है तो मे बी इट्स रिटर्न डिविडेंड यील्ड वुड बिकम बेटर, लेकिन अभी जो इसका ट्रेंड है, इसका डिविडेंड बहुत लो है एंड you don't expect to earn much from the dividend, although based on the trend it might be possible to earn good return on basically capital gains. If you look at TRG, then its dividend return is low, but it can probably improve further as well. So 6% या 7% के अराउंड है, मे बी 10% के करीब चला जाएगा, ठीक है। सो इससे ज़्यादा हाई फिर में भी हमें नहीं एक्सपेक्ट करना चाहिए। सो 150 पे आप 10 रुपीज़ कमाएंगे। सो डिविडेंड रिटर्न फिर भी सिग्निफिकेंट नहीं है। If you look at NETSOL, its dividend is zero and we expect कि इसका डिविडेंड या तो बहुत लो होगा या ज़ीरो ही रहेगा। सो NETSOL से आप डिविडेंड रिटर्न ना एक्सपेक्ट करें। So if you want to strategize your investment, you can see that you might get some capital gain from TRG and some dividend as well. But from the other two companies like Systems and NETSOL, NETSOL से तो बिल्कुल ही कोई एक्सपेक्टेशन नहीं है या बहुत लो एक्सपेक्टेशंस हैं रिटर्न की इन द फॉर्म ऑफ डिविडेंड। सिस्टम से थोड़ी बहुत ही है यकीनन, बट इट इज़ स्टिल वेरी लो। सिस्टम की प्राइस भी एक रेजिस्टेंस लेवल को चेक कर रही है, सो सिस्टम में कैपिटल गेन के चांसेस भी कम है। सो इसके मुकाबले में अगर आप नॉन आईटी कंपनीज को देखें जैसे हबसी, पीसीएल, ईफर्ट, जीएचजीएल एंड देयर आर प्रोबेबली मैनी मोर एज वेल, जिनके रिटर्न्स जो हैं वो बेहतर हैं एंड दोज कंपनीज हैव they have a historic record or trend of giving good dividends as well. So, I mean, I think I can't explain how you can plan or how you should plan your portfolio better than this. Okay, so this is how any small investor, you can pick up your Excel and or maybe just use pen and pencil and look at stock price and its dividend yield, and that gives you a good idea उसका डिविडेंड का ट्रेंड आप देख लें कि ये हिस्टोरिकली कितना डिविडेंड देता रहा है, तो आपको आइडिया हो जाएगा कि यार अगर ये 4-5 मेरे पास चॉइसेस हैं, इस वक्त मैं आपको 7 डिफरेंट शेयर्स दिखा रहा हूँ, आप ज़्यादा में भी कंपैरिजन कर सकते हैं, ठीक है। और इतना कोई मुश्किल नहीं है। इफ़ यू स्पेंड मे बी कपल ऑफ आवर्स in a month or maybe after every 2-3 months, then you can pick up good choices, and you can invest more in a smart way. So let's move on. So thank you very much. Thank you for listening. I hope this session or today's discussion was useful for you. It might have given you some points to think about. It might have given you some skills on how to do the comparison, and anyone with even basic qualification, metric, FA, FSC can read through these things. These are available online, and then they can do basic calculations on how much return is possible on a given investment, and you can do quite well. ठीक है. सो स्टॉक्स भी किसी भी रियल वर्ल्ड इन्वेस्टमेंट की तरह ही होते हैं. चाहे आप उनको किसी दुकान के तौर पे ले लें, किसी किराए के घर के तौर पे ले लें, किसी खेत के तौर पे ले लें. ठीक है ना. कि यार ये है, इसमें इतनी इन्वेस्टमेंट होती है और उसका रिटर्न कितना है. ठीक है. लेकिन स्टॉक बाकी सारी चीज़ों की निस्बत ज़्यादा आसानी से आप खरीद सकते हैं, ज़्यादा आसानी से आप बेच सकते हैं. और चूँकि वो अच्छे स्टॉक्स एक सक्सेसफुल अच्छी कंपनी के होते हैं. ठीक है. तो यूजली उसमें रिटर्न जो होता है वो काफ़ी प्रिडिक्टेबल होता है. लेकिन ये है कि जहाँ तक कैपिटल गेन का ताल्लुक है, ठीक है, सो वो जो है वो मार्केट कंडीशंस और कैपिटल के जो भी वो होते हैं. ठीक है. मुख्तलिफ उस स्टॉक के मुख्तलिफ जो भी सिनेरियोज होते हैं. ठीक है. वो ग्रो कर रहा है, वो इन्वेस्ट कर रहा है. ठीक है. तो उसके हिसाब से आपका डिविडेंड और स्टॉक की मार्केट परफॉर्मेंस इम्पेक्ट होती है. सो थैंक यू वेरी मच. Do support me by subscribing, sharing, and commenting, and I look forward to having more interaction with you. Thank you. Allah Hafiz.